On March 1st, the world lost one of its greatest creative talents, the master Akira Toriyama, creator of one of the most popular anime in history that has rooted itself in the collective imagination like no other, Dragon Ball. Hey guys, welcome back to the Replay Media. Today, we will honor Akira Toriyama in a peculiar way. As we know, Dragon Ball is an anime of pure action, epic battles, and lots of Kamehameha. But it also has a twisted, dark side that scared us a bit when we were kids. Behind its facade of friendship and family, this anime has some truly disturbing scenes that still cause chills to this day. Without further ado, let's take a look. It's funny to start with the scene that's fondly remembered by fans.
That's right, it's me, my boy, it's me.
I'm so happy to see you, Grandpa. I've missed you so much.
Although we tend to forget what happened before. In the adventures of little Goku, there comes a moment when he is reunited with his grandfather Gohan in the martial arts tournament of the witch Uranai Baba. The problem is that Gohan had his face covered with a cat mask, so his grandson could not recognize him. In the final round, Gohan comes out as the strongest fighter in the tournament, so Goku fights him with all his might. The hard thing to see is the crude attitude of his grandfather when he beats him mercilessly by grabbing him by the tail, an unbecoming attitude for a relative of the little Saiyan. Even so, after the fight, both gave us one of the most touching scenes of the anime that made fans cry. When Gohan finally took off his mask, Goku could see his beloved grandfather, whom he thought was dead. Well, he was really dead, but you know the rules of Dragon Ball. No one is truly dead. Continuing with the original 1986 anime, there is another terrifying moment that, far from having a happy ending like the previous one, makes it clear that the threats in this universe are quite real. We have to go back to the World Martial Arts Tournament, when after a tough battle, Goku and his friends are about to have a nice dinner. However, Goku forgot his power pole somewhere else, so his best friend Krillin offered to get it for him. It seemed normal, but Goku felt that something strange was going on. He didn't even want to eat anything, and we all know how gluttonous Goku is. While he told himself it was just a strange feeling, he soon discovered the corpse of his best friend, something that stunned us all in our childhood. He died at the hands of Tambourine, a servant of Demon King Piccolo, who had orders to kill the finalists of the tournament and take the Dragon Balls he found there. Krillin had some bad luck crossing paths with this evil being, who ended up breaking his neck with just a kick. Usually the deaths in Dragon Ball are caused by big explosions, but this time, it was just a body with blank eyes and blood coming out of its mouth. Worst of all, it was the first death of a major anime character, and we'll never forget how terrible it was. Now let's talk about the iconic Dragon Ball Z, which gave us the most epic moments of this universe, as well as the darkest. In this case, the protagonist is Tien Shinhan, one of Goku's first enemies in the original anime, who later became a great ally. In Dragon Ball, no one is bad for too long. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that bad things don't happen to them, like Tien during the arrival of the Saiyans Vegeta and Nappa on Earth, where they wanted to obtain the Dragon Balls at the cost of blood. As the great defenders of the planet, the Z fighters stood up to them, although the enemies were stronger than they thought. While it was a brutal fight in many ways, the most shocking thing was to see Nappa increasing his power level to cut off Tien's arm, leaving us with a disturbing scene full of screams of pain and a mutilated warrior who kept fighting until the end. Dragon Ball Z is full of great villains, though we can define a trinity characterized by its immense cruelty and power. Frieza, Cell, and Majin Buu. Those three were beyond redemption and caused a lot of trouble for our favorite heroes, especially the first one. During the Frieza saga, the Z fighters travel to the planet Namek to stop the Emperor of the Universe, who desires the Dragon Balls of that planet to become immortal. Despite his army being a bit incompetent, Frieza was a real nightmare for both the Z Fighters and the fans, as he represented an evil we had never seen before in the TV show. After adopting his second form, he impaled poor Krillin with his horns. While the warrior slowly bled to death, Frieza savored his blood like a vampire, an image that still gives me chills. Krillin's agony went on for several minutes as the villain shook him in the air as if he were made of paper. The Z Fighters could do nothing but watch their friend face a brutal death. While Krillin manages to heal later on, Frieza blew him to pieces in his final form. If anything good came from the second death of his best friend, is that Goku became Super Saiyan for the first time. A historic moment in the anime and a canon event for every fan of this universe. The Android and Cell arc offered fans a vision of the future that no one wanted. A world in ruins where the Z Warriors had been defeated and only the resistance of a young Trunks, the son of Vegeta and Bulma, remained. While that alternate line never became a reality, the flashbacks about it are extremely unsettling. Not even Goku was spared in that fateful future, dying from a sudden heart condition. That's exactly why Trunks jumped to the past, to give Goku the antidote to that strange threat. In that future, the revelation that both Saiyans and their allies had fallen to the androids and the scenes of devastated cities created an atmosphere of hopelessness. Trunks' lonely quest, the sacrifice of his mother and his master Gohan, left fans with a bittersweet taste, proving that even in a world of powerful fighters, the consequences can be fatal. Yes, Dragon Ball also has a bit of Terminator in it. The Android Saga has several brutal scenes that made quite an impression back in the day, such as the battle between Yamcha and Android 20, better known as Dr. Gero. Well, it wasn't really a battle, as Dr. Gero pierced his chest like it was nothing, and the only thing that could save Yamcha was a sensu bean. However, the most disturbing moment was the reveal of the big antagonist of this story arc. When Piccolo went to Ginger Town to investigate a disturbance allegedly caused by androids, he discovered something far more sinister. Cell, a bio-android capable of sucking its victims lifeless. A sting that could penetrate the skin, a muscle to liquefy the inside of its victims, and an extremely unpleasant appearance made up the first form of Cell, a monster that did not hesitate to annihilate an entire village to become stronger. Also, not far behind is the way Cell sucks in Android 17, engulfing it whole with the end of his tail. That was our first experience with body horror as kids. We just didn't know it. We reached the last Dragon Ball Z saga, starring Majin Buu, a villain capable of the best and the worst at the same time. In this case, we will not talk about an epic battle against him, but the influence he could exert on a warrior to turn him into a real monster. It all happened during the 25th edition of the martial arts tournament, where Videl, Gohan's love interest, was preparing to face Spopovich, a fighter who always fell defeated in previous tournaments, although the evil sorcerer Babidi found some evil inside him and turned him into one of his servants to awaken Majin Buu. In the tournament, Spopovich, under the power of the M in his head, subdues Videl with immense cruelty, enjoying every second of the suffering of the young girl who had no chance against this mastodon. More than a fight, this scene showed the brutality that can reach a human dominated by Babidi's evil energy, which was paving the way for the great villain. There was so much expectation for Majin Buu that no one anticipated that his first form would be an overweight creature fighting on Babidi's orders, until Goku opened his eyes. When Babidi wanted to treat him like a slave again, Majin Buu exploded his head to make it clear that he was no slave. This Majin Buu had some goodness in his heart. He could redeem himself, but after witnessing human cruelty, he became so angry that he expelled all his inner hatred, giving life to Evil Buu. This new version was pure evil, and he turned Majin Buu into chocolate to eat him, and thus transformed himself into Super Buu, the ultimate form. Super Buu emerged as one of Dragon Ball Z's most lethal villains, reaching the point of exterminating mankind. In a desperate act to give Goten and Trunks time to master the fusion, Piccolo suggested to Super Buu that he must annihilate everyone on the planet before they could face him. Of course, mankind was later revived thanks to the Dragon Balls, but that doesn't remove the dramatic weight from this moment. With just a fraction of his power, Super Buu exterminated every soul on the planet. No matter where they were, they all fell, and he showed no sign of remorse. That was the power level of this great villain and the desperate measures the Z Fighters had to take in an attempt to defeat him. But you wanna know something funny? In the end, Majin Buu died because of Goku's colossal Genki Dama, formed by the energy of all mankind. Karma in its pure state. And so we reach the end of this compilation of the most disturbing and darkest moments of Dragon Ball. There were some left out, but we consider these to be the most emblematic of the saga. For those who have grown up with Dragon Ball, these dark moments contrast with the playful and adventurous spirit of the anime, but it is precisely these ups and downs that make it so special. Challenges, defeats, and comebacks are the defining soul of Akira Toriyama's masterpiece, an artist with an everlasting legacy. Rest in power, Master. We will never forget you.